Hello. Howdy. It's 6 p.m. 6 p.m. somewhere. In fact, 6 p.m. here. It's 7 p.m. as I speak somewhere else. It's 5 p.m. someplace else. And it's 8 a.m. elsewhere. Remarkable. Remarkable world we live in. Hello, Lisa. Hiya. So, listen. Welcome wherever you are, whatever time it is. But I caution you, please pay attention. This is written in red, okay? If it is not 6 p.m. where I am, you are not watching this live. That is written in the contract conspicuously, bold letters, red print. There is no excuse for not knowing that if you're watching this and it's 7 p.m. where I'm at, that you are not watching this live. Just wanted to make that clear. Nothing more so than that. That's all. Hey, Donna and Kathy, hi. Hi. So, exciting day. It's a really exciting day. If you missed it, I'm going to recapitulate it for you. Is that long term for recap? Is recapitulate really a word? Should I have a dictionary by my side? Should I be prepared to Google? I don't know. I'm gonna use the English language freely as I see fit. Should I butcher the English language? Call a cop. Anyways, listen, what an extraordinary day. The House Minority Leader, his name is Kevin McCarthy, flew to Florida today to talk to former President Trump. And now I'm going to try to explain why that's so extraordinary. Because they're about to begin a trial very soon in the Senate to decide whether the former president, while president, encouraged, facilitated, caused an insurrection which resulted in an attack on the Capitol of the United States. Kevin can't really wrap his arms around which story he wants to promote. And so before the attack on the Capitol, Kevin McCarthy was kind of like, it's a fake election. They stole the election. They beat Trump wrongly, illegally. Then there was the attack on the Capitol. The president encouraged this attack on the Capitol with his words and actions and his rally, and this shouldn't have happened. And then 2 days later, he's like, it's your fault, America. It's your fault. It's not my fault. It's not Trump's fault. It's your fault. 3 stories. Here's what I think. Just want to throw this in as a historical footnote. I think Kevin McCarthy's full of shit, but that's not very exciting news, is it? Now, I think what we should do with the likes of Kevin McCarthy is just make sure that when the history books are written, he goes down as facilitating insurrection along with his boss, Donald Trump. I just want to throw that out there, okay? So, extraordinary day. You got the House guy going down to kiss the ring, so to speak. That's what they've been saying in the media. And when I tried to find a better terminology, I really couldn't. It went down to Florida. That ought to be a song, right? And he made up. He made up with Donald because Donald. So the Republican Party officially has decided when it stood at the crossroads. And it did stand at the crossroads, okay? The Republican Party had a moment in time, and it started on February 6th. There was this moment where the flash bulbs were going off in their heads, and some of them thought for a minute, whoa, this is bad juju, man. We can't be associated with this. And so they were clamoring to distance themselves from what had happened. I think that was a prudent strategy at the time. What I didn't see coming, what I've never seen coming, was this embrace of white supremacy as a inherent doctrine in the Republican Party. It's always been there. That's been obvious. I'm not. I don't want to. I don't want to take away anything from the Republican Party of old. But it's 2021, and you would think that they would try at least to kind of make themselves look like they were sensitive human beings. Turns out they're not very sensitive at all, but they don't have to be, because the people they have embraced, wrapped their arms around, cuddled with, who vote for them are in large measure white people who don't particularly care for others, up to and including liberals. I'm taking a bow here, okay? Anyways, so I really, I keep trying to think worst case scenarios. That's the way my mind operates, right? Let me say for a moment, hello, Mark and Rachel and Debbie and Chris and Becky. Welcome, welcome. So the thing is, while I have done a good job, I really have done a good job of anticipating some of this that's happened and unfolded, right? I was the naysayer that people said, oh, you live in Texas. Turns out that didn't have anything to do with what I was saying or what I anticipate would happen. So worst case scenarios happened, but they keep having worser case scenarios. Is there a word such as worser? Thank you, Kathy. She likes my words, whether they're real words or not. I'm not sure if there's a worser, but the Republican Party has demonstrated to me that they can be worser than I anticipate, because when they had this moment in history where they could have said, ooh, this is creepy, they didn't do it. Okay? So, given that, they went ahead and just decided to embrace it. I'm stunned. Excuse me one moment. My phone is dinging, and it'll ding because they don't know that I'm talking. So, Debbie's asked an excellent question. How can we stop what's going on? The answer is we can't. The answer is kind of twofold. 80 million people wholeheartedly repudiated the policies, on ideology, activities of a man called Donald Trump while he occupied the office that we refer to as President of the United States. 80 million people. Well, the Republicans have calculated that's 80 million votes they can't do anything about, right? They're wrong, but that's okay. They made that calculation, and they decide that they need the 73 million that voted for Trump, because while they're creative, the Republicans have demonstrated a creativity that I got to respect, dismantling the postal service to stop voters, Democrats from voting, to suppress the black vote, to suppress the urban vote. That masterful. If you don't understand, you're not following what's been going on. Okay, so they decided that the 73 million are so hardcore that despite everything that Trump did, the obvious stuff that he did, that if they could harness those persons, they could stay in power. So the first step was to try and use those 73 million votes to take over the United States, because power corrupts. And in Donald Trump's case, absolute power corrupted absolutely, because he had unchecked, unfettered access to the power of the United States of America. So there's this decision. So here they are at the crossroads. 73 million people that would vote for Donald Trump, regardless of what he may do, what crimes he may commit, what policies he may implement. He's their boy. Or go this way and try to get along and kind of create a new party, so to speak, distance itself from Trump, see how many come along with him. Of the 73 million, would 50 million go? Well, if Biden just got 80 million, 50 million wouldn't be enough, right? So they couldn't measure exactly how many, but they had a measure. They couldn't measure how many they'd lose, but they had a measure of how many they could win. And so they decided to stay with what they know. A certain lack of creativity, I want to tell you. I think the Republicans probably could have gone left instead of right. Isn't that a little ironic to put it that way? And I think they could have won over a segment of the population. And 80 million versus 73 might have ultimately landed up being like 75. It might have been a real race to see whose policies and ideologies would prevail next election. So, and then you've got this woman, I think her name's Marjorie Greene, and she's nuts. Make no mistake about it. I mean, this isn't one of these things where you don't need a psychiatrist. I watched Andrea Yates get convicted and Jeffrey Dahmer get convicted of these heinous crimes. Jeffrey Dahmer used to kill and eat his victims, right? And Andrea Yates killed her 5 children. She drowned them. And in both cases, they called in a psychiatrist, and his name was Park Dietz, Dr. Park Dietz. And Dr. Dietz testified at both trials that these people weren't crazy, right? They did not meet the legal definition of crazy. Ken Goldberg had even called to testify, would have said, even in the absence of a psychiatric degree or a degree in psychology, I'm here to testify today that if you sleep with somebody, kill them, eat them, take what's left over and put it in the freezer for future reference, you're nuts. I don't need a psychiatrist. When Park Dietz said, no, he's not insane, I'm like, no, actually, Park, he's so insane. We didn't need you. He should have gone to the front of the insane line. He should have been in the express lane. He should have been in a mental institution so quick it made everybody's head spin. But no, Park said not. And Park shows up at Andrea Yates' trial in Houston, Texas, after she drowns her 5 kids. And he says, well, she's not crazy. I'm like, no. Please call me to the stand. Let me attempt to persuade you that mothers don't kill their children. They don't kill one child. They don't kill 2, 3, 4, 5. Mothers don't kill their children unless they're crazy. That is the only reason they kill their children. So if you have killed your children, didn't hide it, she drowned them, put them in bed dead, and said, the devil made me do it. You're crazy. Somebody said, well, what if she's pretending she's crazy? That's what they said to me back then. I said, if you can pretend you're crazy and kill your children, then you're crazy. You can pretend all you want. You're still crazy, right? I said to one of my callers on my radio show, hey, tell you what, because he was all upset. I was talking about she was insane. And he said, if she got away with that, then anybody who wants to kill their kids can go ahead and kill their kids. Just say I'm crazy. I said, well, who would do that except for a crazy person? So I said to him, I tell you what, pretend that I am the most extraordinary lawyer, and I promise you that I will get you off. If you kill one family member, you pick one family member that you would kill, and I guarantee I get you off. Which one would you kill? And he said, well, I wouldn't kill any of my relatives. Well, why not? Because you're not crazy, right? Okay. Back to Marjorie Greene or whatever her name is. She's nuts. I don't need psychiatric evaluations. You run around telling kids in high school that they're bad news because after they got shot up, a bunch of their classmates died, that they should not be lobbying against guns or guns. And if you go around and say Sandy Hook was actually a fairy tale created by actors, if you go around saying Jews are bad and white people, white supremacists are good, you're crazy. That's all. But in the Republican Party, you're an up and comer. Yes, indeed. You're an up and comer if you're in the Republican Party and you're as crazy as Marjorie is and as hateful and spiteful. And even though there's video of you acting crazy out in public, even though there's Facebook posts and whatnot with your racist, anti-Semitic crap, you will be elevated to committees. Now, what they do is they have a process within the government, in the Congress, I should say, in the Senate and in the House, where they can deprive you of status if they don't like you. They can't send you home. Okay? You were elected by the people. Maybe the people, wherever she's from, are all nuts. I saw interviews in her home state, and most of the people I interviewed said, she's cool, she's outspoken. We wanted somebody pro-gun, speaks their mind. She doesn't. So you're not sending her home. But you also don't have to empower her. You don't have to give her committee assignments. You can do to her what you did to people like Stephen King, who eventually was so obnoxious and so racist that they stripped him of any kind of participation with any status in Congress, right? So he went home forlorn because, he was rejected. But not in today's Republican Party. You just need to be a crazy, crazy far right conspiracy theorist, gun toting, white supremacy, QAnon loving person. And the Republicans today in the Congress will embrace you. So we stood at the crossroads. And what we didn't see coming was the emergence of QAnon in the Congress. I didn't see it coming. What we didn't see was a right-wing conservative Republican Party, notoriously right, notoriously conservative, shifting so far to the right that we no longer looked at them as a right wing. We looked at them at a lunatic fringe. Mitch McConnell has become a lunatic fringe. Kevin McCarthy, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz. How embarrassing that Texas has Ted Cruz. But there's a lot of Texas love him. Love him. Yes, Marjorie is a vile racist, and she should not be in office, except, as I said, Lisa, she was elected by her constituency, and they really can elect whoever they want. I really don't think that we can ever tell her constituency that Marjorie can't be your representative. But I do know that if she ran on the Republican ticket, which she did, and she got elected, then the Republicans, the GOP, that have the seniority and that manage the Congress, the Senate, and the House, they certainly don't have to go, yay, right? They could go, oh, man, this is nuts. I'll tell you what, they should say, Marjorie, go take a seat over there, kind of by yourself. Think for a couple of years what it is you want to achieve. We'll check in with you from time to time, but no thanks, Marjorie. We don't need you, okay? We don't need somebody that calls the murder of grade school and high school kids a false flag operation. We don't need somebody that calls for the killing of Democrats being enhanced in the Senate or the House by being given actual responsibilities. So rather than shunning, which would have been the logical thing to do under the circumstances, instead, they're embracing her, and simultaneously, they're going after Liz Cheney, who's to the right of Attila the Hun. That's an old saying, okay? Um, Liz Cheney, second highest ranking Republican member, who nailed Trump, openly nailed Trump. So Matt Gaetz, this weasel, this little weasel, this little oral fixated weasel who fantasizes being able to go down on Donald and bring him great joy, races off to Wyoming to see what he can do about displacing Liz Cheney. Now, I have never really enjoyed Liz Cheney. I mean, remember Cheney, VP Cheney? I mean, this family is pretty right wing and can be pretty obnoxious. And now I have to embrace Liz because she sounds sane. She sounds moderate in contrast to the idiots that are now in control of the Republican Party. Unbelievable. Now, I'm grateful for Liz. I don't want to denigrate what she's doing, man. She's standing up. She got a backbone. Lisa Murkowski got a backbone. Sass got a backbone. Mitt Romney got a backbone. But, 5 senators out of 50, 45 that are just pathetic. Pathetic. Put her with Nancy. Nancy will straighten her out, huh, Debbie? Ted Cruz, I don't know that we can say he's a stain on the beautiful state of Texas. Texas is home to Greg Abbott, Paxton, Ted Cruz, Cornyn. Listen, politically, this is not a beautiful state. This state turned down Medicaid for tens of thousands of people. This state, Texas, was one of the few in the United States that told the federal government that we reject your billions of dollars for health care because we're not going to spend a dime more than we spend now on health care. We are going to be so stingy, we won't pay $1 million for $1 billion. We won't do anything. We won't cooperate to provide additional health care for 20,000 Texans who had no health care at all. So this is not quite the beautiful state. We are beautiful people, Lisa, you and I. Okay? So, today was an extraordinary day. Beto blew it, Chris. As far as I'm concerned, Beto blew his. He made what looked like a good run at Cruz, and I think was it Cruz, and he lost. And he had a group that was willing to coalesce around him, and he decided to spend it on being president of the United States. I've told anybody listen to me, Beto shot his shot trying to be president. Then he spent the rest of his time driving around by himself around the state trying to muster up votes. I think he's a non-entity now. That's my personal sentiment. I could be wrong. I hope that there's a young man like Beto or Colin Allred. I mean, we got a couple of politicians, but somebody, it's going to have to be somebody we don't really know who's going to unseat Governor Abbott. But I will promise them a donation. I will pay to unseat Governor Abbott. Anyways, so it's really been an incredible day because what we're seeing is the absolute disintegration of what we thought of the political world, the landscape, the terrain. We're finding out that we'd hiked this 1,000 times. We'd made this hike in our lives. We knew what the Republican Party stood for. We knew the kinds of things they would do, what they wouldn't do. We knew they wouldn't go along with a lot of things. And then Obama was elected. We began to find out that the Republican Party was a little bit more disconcerting than we had anticipated. So then what happens is Obama spends 8 years. They stopped him from doing anything. And then they came back with a vengeance. Donald Trump, the white man's hope, right? And so Donald does exactly what they thought he would do, only does it much worse than they thought. Anyways, they're choking us. That's what they're doing. By empowering white supremacist movements, domestic terrorists as identified by the FBI, by embracing QAnon and the Proud Boys and whatnot, they're choking us, Americans. They're choking us, citizens of the United States, who had reasonable expectations that there was a balance of power contained within the two-party system, that the people that cried out for a third party were probably right, but we could get along with two parties in the meantime. Turns out we can't. We thought we knew what to expect from the grand old party, and it turns out most of us didn't. There are some pundits, professors of Black history and stuff, who would tell you that this has always been the trajectory of the Republican Party, and that nothing they do right now is surprising because it was all clearly anticipatable. They may be right. I didn't see it coming. So I found it to be an extraordinary day. I thought, my word, it's being revealed to me just how desperate straits the United States is in. Because if you have a party as big as 50 members in the Senate, 50 members in the Senate embracing QAnon. In other words, QAnon, which should be like this marginalized group of people with their crazy conspiracy that Democrats are cannibalistic, organ selling demons, spawns of the devil himself. If QAnon should have been marginalized, it's now been integrated into an established two-party system as a force du jour, then the rest of us are, how shall I say, we are fucked. So we'll see what happens in the coming days, right? Extraordinary times we're living through. Every day seems historical. I love this post I put. I took it from a friend that posted it. It says, what's the difference between insurrectionist and Ted Cruz's wife? And then it goes on to say, Ted Cruz wouldn't defend his wife. I mean, I've said this before about others and maybe about Ted Cruz. So low you can crawl under a pregnant snake. That's low, man. But what are we going to do? All right, so let's get on with more fun stuff. I mean, that stuff's compelling. I don't want to suggest that what I'm saying isn't, whether you think what I'm saying is important, the topic is important. The shift, the transformation in the Republican Party is extraordinary and important, but it doesn't mean that my insights are very, I don't even know. My insights aren't very perceptive necessarily. I could be off the wall in how I see this transforming, but there's no doubt that what I'm seeing is real. How it plays out, I don't know. So I posted Kicks by Paul Revere and the Raiders. I don't know why, but I was waiting for 6:00 today. And while I was waiting, I thought to myself, I started humming a song. I couldn't tell at first what it was. I didn't recognize it first. And then I kept singing it until I got to the chorus. Kicks just keep, and then I'm like, oh, it's Kicks by Paul Revere and the Raiders. What a cool jam. Forgot I had the 45, man. I probably had the album too, but I had the 45. I think one side was Kicks and the other side was another big hit. I mean, it's one of those ABs are good, baby. All right. So, wow. Now I'm wondering what the other side was. So I posted Kicks for no reason other than it's kind of get your head bopping. Kicks just keep getting harder to find, and all your kicks ain't bringing you peace of mind. You better find out it. Anyways, so jam to Paul Revere and the Raiders. I mean, some of you, maybe you're too young. I know that Donna Farmer has absolutely got to be too young to be able to enjoy or at least to be acquainted with the Paul Revere and the Raiders. And if you ever saw them perform when they were dressed up like Paul Revere and the Raiders, you'd be like, wow, that is so square. I mean, it was square in the 60s when they did it. It was kind of over the top, right? But, they were jamming. So I was down with it. Kind of like the Monkees. The Monkees they were square from the get, but there was something about them that I dug, I thought they were cute, and I liked their songs, and I had one or two of their albums. Valerie, that was the second album, right? First one, boy, we jammed. We jammed to I'm Not Your Stepping Stone and I'm a Believer. Those two songs, when they came on the radio and I was in high school and we would be hearing, everybody in the car would, be bouncing. I'm not your stepping stone, right? I know everybody here, if you were in a car and when that song came out and they were playing it, everybody in the car was bouncing. I don't know who could have avoided bouncing. So I don't know how I got off on a tangent like that. Well, it's a tangent I enjoy, actually, frankly. Headquarters, best two. You guys got to be better. You got to be better than this. You can't just say Headquarters, and you can't just say best two. Love that song. I'm Not Your Stepping Stone. I hope that's what you mean, Jenny. Or is it a song that's going out over the air that I'm not party to? And I'm a believer. Then I saw her face. And I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Everybody in the car would sing the chorus, right? Right? With I'm a believer? Yeah. Oh, how about best two songs? The album was called Headquarters. You're talking about Paul Revere? Really? Wow. Well, I told you, I don't know if I own the album, but I own the 45s. So the Monkees. Yeah. And then the song, When I Woke Up This Morning, You Were on My Mind. And We Five, When I Woke Up This Morning, right? Petula Clark, Downtown. Lulu, To Sir With Love. I mean, come on, we should never completely be distanced from the music, man, because we jammed, no matter how square our jams were, there are jams, and I tenaciously will always cling to it. I heard I'm a Believer at least 4 weddings. The bride walked out to it, very cute. 1965. So, I never heard I'm a Believer at a wedding, but I want to qualify that. I didn't go to a wedding, probably. I don't remember being invited to any weddings, Lisa. Mamas and the Papas. Oh yeah, Monday. Shoot. Mamas and Papas had so many hits, I couldn't keep up with them. Oh, got down on my knees, and I began to pray. Woo-wee. Yes. Music really, especially at a time like a pandemic. What, besides Ken Goldberg's podcast, what could be more invigorating? What could be more comforting? What could be more cuddle then good jams, man, that take you back as far as you want to go, right? We talked about it. Leslie Gore, it's my party. I'll cry if I want to. And the other one, don't put me on this. Um, you know the song. We talked about it the other day. Man, we went to 5 weddings in 2018. Okay. I've probably been to 5 weddings in my life. California Dreaming. Thank you, Chris. Um, if you didn't, if beside you, if I didn't have music, I'd probably be dead. I have music, right? You know what I like about Dallas, and you all don't have it? I'm going to tell you something. We got 91.7. I want to explain what I'm saying. So we have this public radio station, plays a lot of eclectic music. It's public radio, so there's very few commercials. They have sponsors. They don't have commercials. And then, maybe twice a year for about 4 weeks, they have fundraising drive you up a wall. They all there's like 3 major public radio stations, and they all do it at the same time, right? So what happens is 91.7, right? They be jamming. Now, here's the important thing. I went back to Chicago to visit, and I put on the radio on the car. I put on WXRT 93.1, I think it is. Anybody from Chicago knows that was kind of the hip music station. And within an hour, I'm like, oh my God, I can't take any more commercials. Oh, Jesus. So Rachel says her first single was by Leslie Gore. My first single, J. Frank Wilson, Last Kiss. J. Frank Wilson, Last Kiss. Didn't I put that one up here one day? That was my first 45. Silhouettes by Herman's Hermits. Henry the Eighth I am. Henry the Eighth I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before, and everyone was an Henry. Henry! I think, Jenny, that several of the weddings were mine. That's funny. Yeah. Of all the weddings I've been to, I've been to 3 of my own, and I've probably only been about 6 total. So, yeah. Of course, you love Leslie. Everybody loved Leslie Gore, right? She was fabulous. And if you've ever heard her do the song that I've talked about it before, it was the first Women's Lib song. If you've ever watched her perform that song, and you listen to the range of her voice, something about watching it. It's like watching, what's her name? Leanne Rimes do Amazing Grace. There are some people that will, there's so many octaves that they cover, and it's just astounding, and they do it so well. So I told y'all I took voice lessons for about 9 months one time here in Dallas before I moved to Arizona, and I just wanted to sing. I didn't want to perform. I didn't have a goal. I just wanted to sing. I wanted to sing and be okay singing, and so I signed up with a music teacher, and so I'm practicing with her, and Tracks of My Tears. So you just shifted back to rhythm and blues with Smokey Robinson. All right. So I go to this person I'm practicing, and I did Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman was one of my major jams, and Paul McCartney Yesterday. So you would practice during the week. You'd go back, you'd sing with her. She'd work on your breath and stuff. And, it was fun. It was fun. I didn't mind. I don't remember what I paid. Doesn't matter. Then I had the fight at the bar, and I didn't know this, but I didn't know that if you were taking an anti-inflammatory like Celebrex, that these NSAID or whatever they call them, they thin tissue. The way they operate to relieve inflammation, and I had back pain, was it thins the tissue, and by thinning the tissue, removes the inflammation that has lodged into the tissue. So it thins tissue. I didn't know. So I got into a fight at the body shop that I owned. And I was out there and I was yelling at a guy because I was having to chase him because I was trying to hit him. And I was yelling and I ripped my vocal cords. I told you this. And that was the end of my voice lessons because I lost probably an octave. And I didn't have that. The reason I'm bringing it up is I didn't have that many octaves, right? So I'm just a normal kind of male guy. And maybe I had this range, right? And Leanne Rimes and Leslie Gore and some of the great singers, Adele, they've got like this kind of range. And then when I was done, my throat had finally healed because when you rip your vocal cords, you get blood in them. That's what happens. So I had gone from like here to here, and I didn't see any sense in pursuing anymore. So I can't raise my voice. I can't do a false falsetto like I used to do. I know false falsetto is redundant. All right. Yeah, Debbie. Well, you got all night, girl. You got 24 hours. You can come back and report on what all music. Johnny Rivers was great, man. Johnny Rivers was God. He had so many hits, didn't he? Yeah. You guys, you're tickling my fancy, man. I think I know what I'm gonna do when this is over. Yikes! I take Celebrix sometime. Love to sing. I better not yell at anybody. Lisa, I'm not kidding you. So I used to get epidurals in my spine because I have a deformity in my back. And one of the things, the reason they limit how much steroids you can have injected in your spine, because that's what an epidural is, they're injecting cortisone, is because cortisone, like Celebrex, like so many other NSAIDs, it thins out the tissue. And the risk with epidurals in the treatment of back pain is that you may make a sudden move when your tissue is thinned out, and now you've got a problem. You've damaged the tissue. You don't just have inflammation, you've got a tear. And if anybody knows anything about tissue, you don't want to tear tissue. So they'll only give you so much cortisone injections in the course of a year because of that. So so I didn't know that. You think Johnny Rivers did Tracks of My Tears also? Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Johnny Rivers may have done Track of My Tears. We'll find out, won't we? We'll find out. So anyways, it's almost time to end this show. I just want to tell you that Lisa said she's taking Celebrex because she's got a jacked up shoulder. And I'm just cautioning her that there is a problem with anti-inflammatories that you need to be aware of. I was yelling at the guy, Lisa. I was calling him names. I won't repeat. So I was calling him names, and I was doing it at what we would call an enhanced volume. My vocal cords probably ripped, but I was so mad that I kept yelling, even though nothing would come out. When you rip your vocal cords, air doesn't flow over them anymore, so that you can't really talk. So I kept yelling at him. I kept calling him names, and I don't remember how the fight ended. I remembered my fight ended for me essentially in a doctor's office where they identified that there was blood in my vocal cords, which would take months and months to heal. Okay? All right. You got two fracker in the back. Debbie's got fractures, apparently. Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen for some good boogie woogie. You guys are good. Stimulate your nostalgia for music, and you guys start rocking. I mean, Johnny Rivers, Commander Cody, these are two that I don't normally come to mind real quick, but whom I absolutely enjoyed in their time and could enjoy again. So you guys are fun when it comes to playing Trivial Dispute. Oh, I'm sorry, Trivial Pursuit. Anyways, Lisa, you be careful. Everybody, let's wind down now, please. I need to wind down. I told you, for me to ramble for 45 minutes by myself, except for your comments, really requires a certain maniacalness, don't you think? And doesn't it sound maniacal to you? I know why I don't build like an audience over time, that I have a group of people that are very gracious and enjoy visiting with me in this format, but I don't grow on people that don't know me very well. So what happens is my numbers don't they don't really grow. They're kind of sticking around this under 100. But hey, there was a time when I had 35,000 listeners at KYNG. That's all I can tell you. Anyways, I put my hands before my heart, and I'm doing this because what I'm about to do is generate loving kindness and or goodwill. And so I close my eyes, I bring my hands before my heart, I bow my head, and I always say to you, think of this as prayer or think of this as meditation. Doesn't matter. May I be happy, healthy, and free from harm. May I be free from anger, anxiety, and fear. May this practice of ours lead to a life of greater peace and comfort. May my mother and father, all my family members, and all my friends be happy, healthy, be free from harm. May they know the affection I have in my heart always. And may they too find the practice, the path that leads to greater peace and comfort. May those persons I find difficult, whatever ill will, whatever difficulties I may have with them, in this moment, I just let it go. I can pick it up a minute from now, but in this moment, I let it go. May these persons be happy, healthy, free from harm, enjoying lives, comfort, peace, and joy. And to all living beings, wherever they may be, throughout the entire universe, be the recipients of our collective goodwill, just radiates from us, so that all living beings be happy, healthy, free from harm. May all living beings be safe, comfortable, and at peace. Satu, Satu, Satu. Oh, Kathy, thank you. Thank you. Joan, you were here. You were hiding in the bushes. Lisa, thank you. And Mark and Ann. Kathy, Chris, Becky, Jim, Rachel, Debbie, Ginny, Donna, whatever. You guys are cool, man. So cool that even if I didn't say your name or something, you're still with it. You'll come back tomorrow, same time. I promise you, each day I swear to you, this I promise, I will try to change it up. I know one thing, I won't post kicks by Paul Revere, but I may post something else by Paul Revere. I'm just saying, I'm not going to duplicate. Often duplicated, never replicated. Ken Goldberg signing out.